What's up everyone? This is just going to be a little Genesis thoughts video. I'm probably going to be a little light on this and Konami's not going to see it in time. I'm planning on going to the UK's first major Genesis tournament, which is going to be in Liverpool in a couple of weeks time. And it's going to be like a 200 person event. And I've been playing a lot of Genesis. In fact, I prefer going to my Genesis locals. And I am currently like number 31 on the Yugioh Omega. I don't think that means I'm good. I just think that means I play more than everyone else. But I do have like a 64% win rate over 100 games with my Armage deck. Like I'm not like losing all my games, but you know, that's just like a bit of who I am. I just wanted to point out some of the problem cards with the format right now and some of the things that I like and some things I hope the direction kind of goes into. First of all, Konami did when BitPro came out and also when Phantom Revenge came out, they did kind of preemptively point cards. Some of them deservingly so, some of them not so deservingly so. They did proactively just put points on new cards as they came out, which they didn't do for Maze of Muertos, which has led to everybody, at least online, and I'm sure people who have managed to get copies of Illusion Gate, which is basically a 0-pointer Raigeki and Monster Reborn in one card, which is just stupid. That card should have just been pointed out the gate. I don't know why they haven't just put points on Maze. I know they're coming out with a list pretty soon, and they probably didn't want to put out like a Maze list and then like 2 weeks later like adjust it again with like a big points update. We need lists of cards of points with set releases every time, because Illusion Gate is basically the most busted card for 0 points. There's also big problems online. I'm not sure how much this will translate to in-person events, and I don't think people actually like playing these decks. Is Exodia decks, a couple of variants of Exodia Deep Draw or other Exodia decks, but those decks are just you lose based off the coin toss and nothing else. If they go first game one, they win the game. If you go first game one, you win the game. It's a complete 50-50, and like a bunch of those consistency cards that those Exodia decks are using should just be majorly pointed. I think cards like Strike Striker Engage should just be like heavily pointed, because you can't play Sky Striker in Genesis anyway because it's a link deck. And other consistency cards that those decks use, like Magical Mallet, just to reshuffle their hand, so if they do break they just get to reshuffle anyway. And there's also, I can't remember the name of the card, I'll try and put it up on screen, but there's a card that returns banished monsters back to the hand, because a lot of the time they will banish Exodia pieces off of a Lair of Darkness to draw them up cards and then just get them back with that one spell. And I'm sure there's plenty of other random ass cards in that deck that could be hit, just to make it just like way less consistent. So it's something like an 85 to 90% like consistency rate of being able to draw Exodia turn 0, turn 1 without interruption. So basically you have to play like Delta basically to stop it, or if they're like reliant on the chicken game draw or whatever, you can Ghost Ogre that, I guess, but that's kind of like it. There are still a bunch of like random ass like 2009 to 2011 13 like spells that aren't once per turn that are just like super powerful. These are Mistaken Arrest, Shared Ride, Soundproof. I'll throw Gravity Collapse in this well of just stupid cards that I should be pointed up. Or Exchange, that's an even older card, and I've been running that card. I think that kind of stupid. These are all these like random ass cards that I've never seen competitive play, but people are pulling out their ass because they're 0 points and just like kind of shit all over the format. A lot of these cards just need to be like pointed up to crazy, so not everyone's just running them in their side deck. If you play Genesis, you know the kind of cards I'm talking about is these like non once per turn old ass cards that are just like stopping your opponent from being playing the game. Speaking of which, today at my locals, someone flipped King Calamity on me because it's only 21 points. Whereas Calyuga, a card with a very similar effect, is 77 points. This is crazy that these two cards do essentially the same thing. They just stop you from being able to play any cards on the field, or your opponent from being able to play any cards on the field for the whole turn. Basically it's a full turn skip, and unless you draw like one of like 3 cards, it's guaranteed to go off. Like you have to like super poly away the cards they're going to synchro with, basically. That's basically the only real way to stop it, unless you I don't know, manage to nib them the turn before, but again, that's just drawing the nib beforehand. They're just boards that you just can't do anything about. There's a bunch of these cards that just need to be pointed up because because of all the cards that deal with those are already pointed so high that those cards need to be taken out too. I would like Nib and Fua to go back to, well, Nib to go back to 10 and Fua to join them at 10. I think Fua is just as good as Nib, and I think boosting it up means that a playset is 30 points instead of 21 points, and it makes it still very playable if you have a deck, and it might make people just run 2 instead of 3. But I think those 2 cards are also very turn skippy. I might be saying this as an RMH player. Nib just shits out my deck, basically. If I can't Fiendsmith into a Caesar or K9 into a Ripper, Nib just shoots my deck down, which is why I'm playing Exchange, to rip it out my opponent's hand. I think those cards are definitely good for the format. I don't think they should definitely be pointed highly out of the format. I think they shouldn't. It's the same problem Droll was having before they massively pointed it, but you were stupid to not dedicate 15 points to Droll. You should be running some mixes of Nib and Fua. I don't know what exact ratios, but those cards are very, very good for non-engine point allocation in pretty much any deck. There's no reason why you shouldn't be running like at least 2 copies of Nib in your deck and 2 copies of Fua at the very least. Obviously, if you have points to allocate, those cards are very, very good. Obviously, Fua is a bit more situational, but and Nib doesn't hit every deck. But the best decks are the ones that play through Nib, like Monarch, Magnet Warrior. Magnet Warrior is another maze set that should probably get some points added on. Speaking of which, we'll go to Monarch. Monarch is such an... Okay, I won't say Monarch as a whole is an unhealthy deck. There are like 3 major variants of Monarch. There is like Domain Monarch, where they don't run an extra deck at all. There is Handrip Monarch, and there is Zaborg Monarch. And those last 2 I don't think are very healthy. So Domain Monarch, I think, where they just don't play an extra deck and they're playing their cards, that is great, but they just play 3 Autogreeds. But it's still one of the best decks. So in Monarch is just a really good strategy, and I don't fully hate the actual strategy. The ability that they have 0 points allocated at all just allows them to run literally any other cards they want is very, very strong. But baseline, like the newest Squire from last year, I can't remember his name, should be having a couple of points put on. Maybe one of the big guys also get some points added on. Maybe Storm. What's the one that is it? Stormforth, the one that lets you tribute one of your opponent's monsters straight away. Maybe that should have some points on it. Just so that the engine has points, so you don't have like 100 points just to spend on non-engine. Just so that the actual core of the deck has some points to it, super consistent, especially because they don't have 15 extra deck cards to spend points on either. Because, you know, most decks will spend at least like 5 to 10 points in the minimum on extra deck. Some decks obviously go above that. Lots of people also have to account for those 15 cards, whereas Monarchs don't have to account for those 15 cards. But then we get to Zaborg Monarch. I think that Zaborg Monarch, I think, is completely and utterly toxic and unfair. They just like to summon 5 Zaborg and nuke half your extra deck, and you're unable to play the game. If you're not playing Monarch 2, they just take out your 9 best extra deck monsters that you play the game with, and then they just leave in this like the stuff that you can't actually do anything with unless you have the other ones. Zaborg should just be 100 points. You scatter some points out through the actual main engine, and they just can't play Zaborg at all. It's kind of stupid that they're allowed to do that. I think it's stupid. And then we get to Hand Loop Monarch, and I will just talk about this hand loops in general, because there are various cards that do this. Cyframe Lord Omega is 100 points, but X-Saber Golems is 0 points, and they are the exact same card that I would use for the exact same thing, to take all of your opponent's cards out of their hand before they get to play the game. And in a format where Ash is basically pointed out for most decks, not every deck, some decks can run 2 Ashes maybe, or maybe even 3 Ashes, but Ash is pretty much pointed out. No one's really running Imperm. You can get away with Vela, and obviously Morna is a good 3-point card. Morna doesn't play around quick effect cards at all. Like Vela's like the only real card there that they kind of can do anything, and if you don't draw it, kind of just done for. There's various different cards that do this. There's also a way Mimical's doing it. where they summon monsters to your side of the field, and I can't remember the name of the exact spell. But if you have a monster summoned to your side of the field, you have to banish cards out of your hand. So they are summoning cards to your side of the field, but then you have to banish the cards out of your hand. It's kind of stupid that they're allowed to do that. So all of these cards are just like rip your resources before you get to play. I should just be 100 points. Omega's at 100 points, so should everything else. There's also Di-Fi. This argument's been up for a couple of weeks now, but Di-Fi should just be gone. It stops most hand traps from being able to be played because most of them say be sent to the graveyard. The playable ones, at the very least, are the only real ones that aren't are the Charmies. They are the only real ones that say discard or don't operate within the confines of the graveyard. Like, yeah, Ghost Spell is playable, but you need cards in the graveyard to use it. But Morna is sent to graveyard, Ghost Ogre is sent to graveyard, Vela is sent to graveyard. So none of these like really work. These are like my main concerns. Oh, also Radiant Typhoon Vision should just be 5 points. I don't know why I didn't do this last big points update, but that card's being used in everyone's deck as a draw too. Overall though, I do really like Genesys. I think it right now is my preferred way of playing the game. I do feel like it feels a bit more, I don't know if anyone else feels this way, it feels a lot more true to the anime in terms of like the decks. Your deck is more consistently themed. Instead of just being Branded Magista's Draco Tail, which is just like 3 of the best decks that just kind of just happen to work together, or blank Fiendsmith or blank K9, right? It's not just like blank plus the best cards, or in the Draco Tail case, the best cards in the game. You play them in a more true to the deck's self, I guess. I don't know the best way to explain it. And obviously the turns are a little bit longer. Sometimes you actually go to like turn 4 or 5. Everything seems a lot more manageable. You don't have to worry if your opponent has certain cards. If you've seen your opponent play a bunch of pointed cards, I can safely think in my head, oh, they've played these cards so far. They probably don't have enough room to fit like 3 nibs. I'm more confident to play assuming they don't have it. I like the constraint because it means it's not just good stuff piles. It's not just the 40 best cards. It's how can you optimize your 100 points to get you the most amount of wins, which I think is a better way of building a deck. At least I enjoy building decks that way a bit more, instead of just saying this plus Fiendsmith. And I know it's like the first year of Genesys and we're still getting the ground running, and I'm sure there is a points list within the next week. There needs to be, because I'm not Genesys open with Exodia FDKs and Zaborg Monarch will just be awful. I'm saying this because I want Genesys to succeed, and I want these pain points to be flattened out, and especially when a new set gets released. I know they'll probably definitely do it every core set, but they need to do it every set that includes new cards, is to put points on, even if it's just a couple of points on the appropriate cards. And you can fix it a month later if it's too many points or if it's not enough points. I don't want to log in to play games and people are just summoning Dragoons on me because it's 100 points and all the supporting cards that came for it are free. It's easy to out a 100-point Dragoon because it's our only good card, but it's just annoying. You start Crawler it or Kaiju over it. It's easy. We just need a new points list pretty soon. Thanks for listening.